Soule is a former viscounty in French province and part of the present-day Pyrénées-Atlantiques département. It is divided into two cantons of the arrondissement of Oloron-Sainte-Marie, and a part of the canton of Saint Palais. Its provincial capital is Mauléon, which fused with Licharre in 1841 to form Mauléon-Licharre, but today is often known as Mauléon-Soule. Historically, Soule is the smallest province of the Basque Country. Its population has been decreasing. Etymology: the territory is named Exaberoa in Soletan Basque, Zubero in Standard Basque, Sola in Gascon and Soule in French, all of them derivate from Subola, previous name of the region attested for the first time in the year 635 in the diaries of a Franco-Burgundian expedition led by Duke Arnabid against the Basques. Subola comes from the name the Romans gave to the Aquitani tribe that inhabited the region by the time of their arrival, the Suburates, also called Sabusates by Julius Caesar in his commentary Ida Bello Gallico, and Sibylates by Pliny the Elder. History: Soule has been continuously inhabited since the last glaciation. There are several deposits from the Neolithic as well as 15 proto-historic settlements. The first text written in Soule dates from the 7th century. Ancient Soule. The territory was already inhabited in the Middle Paleolithic. Neanderthal prehistoric settlements have been found in the caves of Zaxxok-Silo Aga in Ozurukan-Etcheberry. At the end of the Neolithic, the population had extended and assimilated knowledge from other peoples. There are proto-historic settlements that show a simple material life and a lifestyle dominated by migration. Rests of coins and other monetary artifacts have been found, proving the existence of an exchange economy in Soule, which very likely worked as an access point between Aquitaine, Novempopulania in the north and the southern side of the Pyrenees. At the time of the Roman arrival in the 1st century, Soule was inhabited by an Aquitani tribe named Suburates, who spoke the Aquitanian language. As with other peoples in Aquitaine, the Romans had a somewhat important influence in the territory. Although Soule kept its language and culture and was relatively unimportant during the times of the Roman Empire due to its isolation, the only evidence of Roman influence in Soule exists in the Chapelle of the Madeleine in Tardets. Soule is first mentioned as a territory in a text from the 7th century. In 636 the Frankish army led by the Duke Arambert was ambushed and defeated by the Basques in a place named Vallis Subola. This valley is then included in the territory of the Wascones. WHICN included intermittently lands to either side of the western and central Pyrenees. It was later referred to as Gascony. Middle Ages. The region of Soule may have developed a primeval political structure before the 11th century with a strong influence of the Kingdom of Pamplona, established in the year 824. However, it would be in 1023 when Sancho VI, Duke of Gascony, would name Guillaume Fort as first Viscount of Soule. His descendants would inherit the title for around 2 centuries. The Viscounts of Soule had the base in the fortress of Mauléon, a strategic region that controlled the pass from Aquitaine to the Iberian Peninsula. The Viscounts of Soule took advantage of the territory. Despite being small in size, it held a strategic position between the Kingdom of Navarre to the south and the Duchy of Aquitaine to the north. In the year 1152 Eleanor of Aquitaine married Henry II of England, thus the Duchy of Aquitaine joined the Crown of England. In 1261, after 10 years of conflict, the last Viscount of Soule, Augur III, surrendered the castle of Mauléon to Edward I of England, and as a result the territory of Soule was administered by the Crown of England. At this time the current network of roads between the Soletan villages was constructed. Soule under English rule. The English Soule was under direct authority of the Duke of Aquitaine, who was also the King of England. Control over the territory was delegated to a lord, who kept the castle of Mauléon and collected the taxes. The Lord of Soule had 14 captains, of whom only one was English, the rest being either locally born or Gascons. The ex-Viscount Augur III allied with the Kingdom of Navarre, and taking advantage of the war between Philip IV, King of Navarre, and Edward I of England, retook his fortress at Mauléon in 1295, but he was forced to hand it back after Aquitaine was formally declared English in 1303. The 100 Years' War kept Soule isolated from the exterior for many years. Finally, in 1449, an army led by Gaston IV, the Count of Foix and Viscount of Beauharnais, took possession of the castle in the name of the French king, ending the English presence in Soule. Modern period. Soule under French rule in the mid-15th century. Soule finally recognizes the King of France as its own, with the Basque district becoming the smallest province and exclave of the kingdom and the most distant from the center of power, Paris. It came to be surrounded by the sovereign Kingdom of Navarre on the south and west and the independent Principality of Viscounty of Beauharnais on the east. In 1511, King Francis I of France urged the Souletans to set down their institutional and legal framework on paper, which they did in Béarnese, the administrative written language up to that point. In 1539, an amendment to the region-specific laws went on to be written in French, the new official language as decreed by King Francis I. Despite numbering more than 50 towns and villages, Soule was populated by fewer than 4,000 people. The only town was Mauléon, with a population totaling fewer than 350 people. As of 1512, given its proximity to France and its particular geographic situation surrounded by the Kingdom of Navarre and the recently invaded Navarre, to the south, Soule became ensnared in the political, religious and military maneuvers derived from its shaky position, with the French wars of religion affecting the province tremendously. The end of Home Rule. The province of Soule relied largely on the commons set on the highlands and lowlands of the valley for the use of local farmers and shepherds. However, they were also coveted by local and alien lords with estate grants on Soule. By the mid-17th century and in the context of the Treaty of the Pyrenees, anger spread like fire among common Souletans at the aristocracy's takeover of lands and the curtailment of the legal and institutional sovereignty. In 1661, a widespread rebellion erupted led by the priest Bernard Matelaz, but was harshly suppressed by an army sent over from Gascony. Still, Soule managed to retain many native laws and institutions, with its representatives attending the Parliament of Navarre and Beauharnais. The representatives of Soule in the Assembly of the Third Estate-turned-National Assembly held in Paris voted against the suppression of the French provinces and the establishment of a new administrative arrangement that wiped out the existence of the native order, giving way to the département system. Attempts by the Basque deputies in Paris to create a Basque department failed. The districts merged with Beauharnais among protests of the Basque representatives, and even Soule was divided into two cantons. After the end of the First Carlist War in Spain and the relocation of customs to the Pyrenees from the Ebro, trade with Navarre collapsed. In the late 19th century, the establishment of espadrille factories in Mauléon made up for the decay of economic life and emigration, with a number of inhabitants in Navarre and Aragon pouring in and being recruited on the workforce. Geography. Soule is located in the northern basin of the Western Pyrenees, and is the smallest of the Basque region. It is surrounded by Lower Navarre on the west, Navarre on the south, Bearn on the east and north. Along with Labourd and Lower Navarre, it forms the northern Basque Country, also known as French Basque Country or Pays Basque. Its entire territory extends around the axis provided by the river Cesar, known in Basque as Untitled, that flows from south to north until it joins the river Oloron, that works as a border between Soule and Bearn. Soule includes 3 geographical regions: the lowlands at north on a territory known as Pétera or Lower Soule, a forest region known as Arbaile, and the highlands at south, in a region named Basabura with the highest peak at 2,017 meters at the Pic d'Orhy. Orography. Soule's orography divides into 3 regions: the northern lowlands, made up by extensive plains; the central region, which is fairly hilly; and the southern highlands, which are part of the northwestern Pyrenees, with altitudes reaching up to 2,017 meters above sea level at the Pic d'Orhy. In the Pyrenees, from west to east, the first peak is the Pic d'Orhy, above 2,000 meters, and the 4th highest peak in the Basque Country after Arrondissement and Masquerade, among others, all of them in Navarre. Also in the highlands are located the Hautes-Gorigena and Sardegna, which are the 2nd and 3rd highest mountains in Soule. In total, there exist more than 20 peaks higher than 1,000 meters. Hydrography. The river Cesar is the main river of Soule. It is 60 kilometers long and originates at Licq, in the Highlands region. Smaller rivers rising at the Pyrenees join the Cesar before it converges with the river Oloron, together flowing into the river Adour. Climate. The oceanic climate of Soule is generally warm and humid. The Highlands and Pyrenees experience an alpine climate. Demography. Soule is the province with the lowest population density of the northern Basque Country, with 17 people per square kilometre. Soule has experienced a significant population decline since the 19th century. Many people have emigrated to larger cities and regions outside the province, such as Labourd, Bearn and Paris. In the last century, Soule has lost more than 3/4 of its population, which has caused the need for different municipalities to be merged in order to assure the maintenance of public services. Larger cities' administrative divisions. Traditionally, Soule has been divided into 3 geographical regions, each of which group a determinate number of municipalities or communes. Pétera, comprising the Lower Soule, in the north. It includes the towns and villages of Ainharp, Arrouy, Ithorit, Solhaibi, Berrigain, Larens, Domezain, Berot, Espis-en-Durin, Echari, Gestes, Hôpital Saint-Blaise, Lohutz and Neuherk, Mauléon-Licharre, Moncaillol, Larore, Mendebue, Osrain, Riverite, Viadosobens, de Bar, Arbaile in the Midlands. It is divided into 2 regions, Arbaile-Texapir and Arbaile-Handia. It includes the towns and villages of Ozarouk, Garindin, Gotin-le-Barinx, Idomendi, Mendet, Musculdi, Audiarp, Ossis-Saher, Pagol, Roquigwe, Sorguis-Saint-Étienne. Basabura, comprising the Highlands and Pyrenees. It is divided into 2 regions, Abarascan and Abarasca. It includes the towns and villages of Alcae, Alcabayeti, Sunharit, Aelos, Sibizabens, Barkis, Camusihig, Esquil, Echbar, Ho, Docari, Arhan, Charadaro, Leng Restue, Larau, Lishans, Sunha, Licq, Atheri, Montry, Saint and Grace, Tardes, Sorholas, Toivils. For administrative purposes, the communes of Soule are grouped into 4 cantons. The canton of Mauléon-Licharre, that includes 19 communes. The canton of Tardets-sur-Heurlus, that includes 16 communes. The canton of Saint Palais and the canton of Oloron. Culture. After decades of emigration and demographic, social and cultural decay, the territory is showing a strong determination to recover the lost vitality of centuries ago. Assorted cultural events linked to old traditions bear witness to the dynamism. There is a tradition of folk musical theatre, the pastoral. The inhabitants of a village spend the year preparing and rehearsing the play and its dances. Traditionally, the subject of the play was Catholic, but recently pieces of Basque history are also presented. Another event akin to the pastoral beloved of the people of Soule is the Masquerade. This theatrical performances are put on in many villages of Soule in carnival time through spring. Each year a specific village takes the responsibility of arranging a new performance. It consists of a music band in due carnival outfit surrounded with a group of set carnivalesque characters and dancers parading up and down the main street of the host village. At the end, they stage an informal play, usually in the marketplace or handball court. Soule is also renowned for its singing tradition, elegant dances and local music instruments, such as zirala and ttun. These instruments are gaining new dynamism thanks to music schools founded to that end by local cultural activists. Language. Soule's own language has been Basque for centuries, with the region featuring its own Souletan dialect. At the same time, the neighboring Béarnais has been widely understood, and in recent centuries even spoken as a lingua franca. However, both Basque and Béarnais have lost ground to French, with both languages struggling to survive into the next generation. Basque is attested to have been widespread farther east of the territory into the Pyrenees in previous centuries. The inhabitants call non-Basque-speaking foreigners Casconac, while other Basque-speaking people are dubbed Manexac after a commonplace sheep breed in the area.